If you were to go to the book on the page 35, only one is not necessarily referring to a single worksheet. Sometimes people may divide their data into multiple worksheets, like the January, February, March, and so on. That is also make the analysis very troublesome. It's okay to segmentize the data, but if let's say our data in such a way, I want to analyze it, it's not easy. Like the one on the page 35 on the upper section, you can see Jan, Feb, March, April. It's quite common. You want to combine them together to the one at the lower part of it, you will have a new column based on the worksheet name, Jan, Feb, March. So we want to achieve something similar like this. Let's see how we're able to do this inside Power Query. So let's go to data in multiple worksheet name. Data at multiple worksheet name. Let's open this one. Okay. You don't need to open the file. Let me open and let you see how the data looks like. So I go for product tracking. So this one has 4 products. It has the Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, and Delta. Alpha, these are the order ID, the date, and quantity. If I go to next one is Bravo. Bravo has a different order ID, different date, and different quantity. Charlie also having a different data. Something they have in common, their columns header is exactly the same. They are exactly the same. Let me go on. So this is Alpha, order ID, date, quantity. Bravo, order ID, date, quantity. Charlie, also the same thing. Delta, also same thing, A, B, C, D. So they have all of the data, they have an identical column. The only difference is they are stored in the different worksheet. If boss want to say, I want to know the total of all, using this kind of data, it's not easy to come out. Then suddenly, boss, I want to do the comparison between Alpha and Charlie. Wow, not easy. This kind of data, not easy. So we want to move all of them into one single sheet. So let's see how we're able to do this together. So I go to my Excel, data, and you will see something called get data from file, from Excel workbook. Let's go to from Excel workbook. So the one we are going to bring in is in another folder called data at multiple worksheet name. So this is called product tracking version 1. Because our data is part of the name, we cannot select by the name. Just now, all this one we import, we select by specific worksheet name, like invoice, order, and so on. We cannot select by the name. So in order to select all, we select by the folder, something like this one. Click on the top. This one means I'm going to import all the worksheets, irregardless whether it's visible or hidden. Very interesting, huh? Grab everything. Let's do this. After I select this one, I cannot see all because there's many. And then I will see there's a load transform. Because we need to do some adjustment, let's go to transform data. You will observe the behavior slightly different than just now. Do you see something like this? Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta. So all these are the worksheet name. And you will see there's something called kind. That's a worksheet. In certain situations, you may see more than one type. Presume you may have a table or you have a filter, the behavior will be different. So now we only have one type, so it's okay. And I want to keep the name and I want to get the data. Let's click one of the table. Let's click one of the table. Do you notice something appears at the bottom? That is the table for Alpha, because it's on the same row of Alpha. Let's click on the table for Bravo. Do you notice the data changes? Yep, so this is how we're able to make sure. But inside the table, do you see the Alpha, Bravo, Charlie inside here? Do you see that? No. So the data is from outside. So that means I want to keep the name and data. The rest I don't want to keep. To make it easier for us to manage, I just select the first two columns, name and the data. We select first two columns, and we right click on one of them. There's something called remove other columns. That means beside the selected columns, the rest I don't want. Remove other columns. So this one is to help us to reduce the confusion. So now we want to expand the data from table. On the top, do you see there's a button like expand the double arrow key left, right? Click this one to expand the data from the table. Over here, you will see, it will ask you what is the column you want to have. All our data, they are consistently having 3 columns. So column 1, column 2, column 3. And I do not want to use the original column name as prefix. What does that mean? If I use this one, the original name is called data. That will be called data.column1, data.column2, data.column3. Some people like it, some people no, depending on situation. So now we don't need, and then we just click OK. You notice as more things appears, right? Good. And this one has multiple data together with their headers. You can see it's keep on repeating. And one thing for sure, the very first one is the header. But we cannot use the first row as header because the alpha may not be always be there. So we cannot use first row as header. So what we need to do, manually change the header name one by one. Change it one by one. After we change the name, how can I remove the header from here? So there are a few ways. Something you can notice the header, they are consistently with the name type, order ID, date, or quantity. We can use filter to remove one of them. So this first method. Second method is we can, for the quantity, we change the data type to whole number. When I change the data type to whole number, what will happen to the quantity? It becomes errors. Yes, very good. And then we can use remove errors. So there are 2 methods. See which one you like to use. For me, I prefer easy, just filter lah. Just filter quantity. Just take it out. After filter done, good. Before we return the result back to Power Query or back to Excel, just double check visually, check that everything's okay. Anything we need to do changes before we load the data back? Yeah, data type, which one? Date and quantity. The date should yeah, so simple. Quantity, whole number. Thank you. Just change the data type. Yeah, observe. Usually we are changing the data type towards the end. Usually. Got it? So now we are happy with the result. I want to bring the result back. I can click close and load. Yes. And let's wait for a while. With this kind of data, is it easier for you to do the summary? Alpha, how many? Bravo, how many? And Charlie, how many? Yes, it's much more easier. So this is version 1 data. So now my invitation to you is to change the source from version 1 to version 2. Version 2 has more data, more worksheet. Change version 1 to version 2, and have fun. So this is what we have done, and you can observe what we have gone through is keep on repeating the so-called the three main concepts here. So I want to make sure the thing is repeatable, scalable, and also maintainable. Very mouthful wording. So that means we are able to reuse the same thing over and over again with a minimal adjustment if possible, so that it's able to accommodate more data in the future. So that is the whole purpose why we are learning Power Query.